Hello everyone, welcome back to the Growth Academy. Today we will talk about quizzes, and I don't know if you ever used them, but quizzes are one of the best thing to grow an email list and grow a list in general. And to talk about quizzes today, I have here with me a conversion copywriter and a quiz funnel strategist. Welcome to the show to the Chanti Zak from chantizak.com. Welcome to the show, Chanti.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, I have a first question is, I have this curiosity actually. What is a conversion copywriter?
Well, a conversion copywriter it's a bit more tied to data and results. So I write copy with an end goal to achieve a conversion, whether it's converting someone from a stranger to a lead or converting someone from a lead to a customer or to a customer. It's something that you can measure. And the difference between that and say like your typical traditional copywriter is say you put a billboard up in Times Square. It's really hard to measure the effectiveness of that billboard and the copy that's on that billboard, right? You're just sort of like crossing your fingers hoping it works. But with conversion copywriting, you're basing your decisions off of data, customer research, and you can say for sure whether it worked or not.
All right, so you can figure out if the message that you're putting out there is working for the goal that you have in mind or not.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, got it. And how did you become at the end a conversion copywriter and a quiz funnel strategist?
Well, I started out with a food blog very randomly, and I started writing articles for other people, and then I discovered copywriting, and I just sort of fell in love with the art and the science of it, and I fell into conversion copywriting because I like the idea of basing the words we use off of, reality and what an audience is actually experiencing. So I trained with copy hackers in conversion copywriting, and from there I worked full-time at this spiritual development company, and that's where I discovered the effectiveness of quizzes, because I was in charge of all of the lead generation efforts as from top of funnel to bottom of funnel. And I've created every kind of lead magnet you could ever imagine. And I just decided one day, like, let's try a quiz. And it was by far the most effective lead magnet that we ever used compared to free guides, challenges, webinars, free video series type things. We did it all, and the quiz was just the best thing. It worked so well. We generated like 10,000 leads in a month with like a $500 ad spend, and from there I left that company, and then I asked myself, well, if quizzes worked so well for these guys, I wonder if they'll work this well in other industries. And lo and behold, they did. So I just, from there, focused on quizzes.
All right, and did you learn everything by yourself, how to create quizzes and make them work, or you learn from somebody else?
Yeah, I pretty much pieced it together on my own because there weren't really any resources at the time on how to create lead generation quizzes, aside from the articles that give you the 10 simple steps, but they don't really go deep. So I just learned through trial and error and sort of created my own methodology about what works and what doesn't. And yeah, now I have a course that teaches other people how to do quizzes right, because there's really nobody else teaching it.
Right, yeah, that's true. That's why I'm interviewing you. That's a big reason. And you said that you tried different things. You tried video series. You tried any kind of magnet to get leads and grow a list, and you realized that quizzes are the best things that you tried so far to grow a list? Why do you think that? Why do they work so well to grow a list?
Well, I've discovered over the years that they work so well for a few different reasons. So the number one reason is like everyone's favorite topic is themselves.
Mm-hmm.
People are obsessed with themselves, with learning more about themselves, with knowing where they're winning, where they're falling flat. Our egos just soak up all the quiz magic out there. That's why quizzes are some of the top performing content for like BuzzFeed and New York Times and all
Right.
these different publications. It's the psychology behind it of being able to discover something about yourself or about your business or something that you're interested in that you didn't already know. And it's
Mm-hmm.
specific to you, right? Another reason they work so well is because it's an interactive experience. So when you download a free guide, it's up to you to open it up, read through whatever, like the 10 pages, and not get distracted by the million other things that are trying to pull your attention away.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with a quiz, like you answer one question, you go on to the next question. It hooks your attention in a way that others more static content just can't do. And because our attention is a finite resource in today's day and age, this is really powerful. And then you get your result, which is personalized to you, and you're more likely to actually read it because this isn't just like a blanket statement, this applies to everyone
Mm-hmm.
type of resource.
So let me get this right. Every quiz should be about the person who's taking the quiz, or could be a quiz about something else that is completely different. That is not about us, but about something else.
It could be about like I do a lot of quizzes in the B2B niche. So I do a lot of quizzes where like it's about someone's business
Mm-hmm.
and say like what's your success superpower or something.
Right.
So in that sense, it's not so much about them personally. It's more about their business, which is connected to them.
Right.
But yeah, it could be on any variety of topics, but ultimately those topics always come back to the person that's interested in them, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
that's true.
personality quizzes, so something that tells you something about yourself or about something that you're interested in, they perform a lot better than a quiz that's like, what's your digital marketing IQ? Or, those score-based quizzes.
Mm-hmm.
Those still work well, like they're still interactive, but the personality ones, that's where that's where the magic happens.
Okay, got it. And so, all right, it's about the person who's taking the quiz. It's personal, and that's why it works so well because people want to talk about themselves and want to be heard. How can you write a quiz that is effective, that makes a person get through it from the beginning till the end and check the result that is her's gonna have?
Well, I like to reverse engineer my quizzes. So a lot of people like they think, okay, I'm going to write a quiz. So the first thing I'm going to do is come up with some catchy topic that has nothing to do with my end goal or my business. Let's just say you're using a quiz to grow your business and to grow your email list.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, they have that sort of frame of mind, and then they sit down and the first thing they do is they write the questions. And then they go to write the results and they get all tripped up because they're like, "Oh my God, how do I connect all these questions to these different results?" And it becomes really confusing. But
Right.
an easy way to simplify it is to look at like, okay, what is my end goal for this quiz? Like, if I could wave a magic wand and make anything happen, what would I want? And most people would say like they want more customers, right? It's not even about the leads, it's about turning those leads into buyers and getting more sales. So then you would look at your offers, and let's say you had three different offers. one for like a more beginner audience, one that's intermediate, and one that's like high ticket for more experienced. I should come up with a better example. Maybe you're a business coach and you've got those three different offers.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your three different offers, which means you have three different audiences, right? And from there, you can architect your quiz results around those three different audiences. But you want to look at those audiences and ask yourself, what do they have in common? What are they all struggling with? What do they all want?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can come up with a quiz topic that's attractive to all three audiences, but that still allows you to segment them based on whether they're a fit for your beginner course or your intermediate coaching program or your advanced, like one-on-one high ticket. And then you can create your actual topic, your results based on what each of those individual audiences needs to hear
Mm-hmm.
and based on where they're at, because they all have a unique set of struggles and solutions. And then once you've written your results, then you write the questions and the different question options.
That's
So
smart. Okay.
when you do it that way, it almost always will convert on the other side, right? Because the last thing you want to do is put all this energy and time into creating a quiz that like people might take. Everyone loves taking like the what Game of Thrones character are you, or what's your SpongeBob SquarePants archetype, whatever, all those BuzzFeed type quizzes, but those don't actually need to convert,
Of
right? Like
course.
those are just for content marketing and getting people onto their website and making money with ads. But when you're using a quiz for lead generation, you have to be strategic about it. So that's what I recommend is just reverse engineer the whole thing.
Really, really smart. Now, I don't want to ask you any example of quizzes that you already created, but do you have something on your website to show people how you create a quiz, or a quiz that you already have on your website that people can use just to take a look and realize a real example of what you just said?
Yes, totally. Well, my quiz on my website is the most meta quiz on the internet because
Mm-hmm.
it's like, what type of quiz should you create for your
That's
business?
really, really smart.
It's very meta, but it ties into my different offers, right? So people take that quiz and they're like, oh, I need a signature quiz or a launch quiz or an e-commerce quiz. And then from there, I also offer like a free email course on how to create your first quiz.
Right?
So it's like super simplified process, but you can go through that and sort of get your feet wet, get started, learn the fundamentals. And yeah, you can find the quiz at shantizak.com/quiz. And then the course is on the website as well. I don't know the exact URL, but we can probably add it in the notes or something.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'm sure that people will get into your website and they will search for your quizzes just to have an example of what you create and what give results at the end. So, okay, we talked about the structure, how to structure a quiz, and you gave us this really good advice of reverse engineer and start from the end of the quiz instead of at the beginning. But what tool do you use to create those quizzes?
Most of the time, I use a tool called Interact, and the website is tryinteract.com.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy to use. It's super intuitive. There's tons of great like articles that explain how to set up the quiz, but really it's quite simple and you can set it all up in there. You can host your results in that platform or you can host them on your own website and get them all like beautiful looking if you want to do custom design or anything. But if you don't and you just want to do it all in one platform, you can use Interact. There's lots of other different quiz hosting softwares out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like there's more quiz hosting softwares than there are people teaching and talking
Yes.
about quizzes.
Right.
But I also like really respect Interact because they're quite serious about protecting people's data and keeping like strict privacy regulations. Whereas some of the quiz hosting softwares out there, like they like take the data that people put in when they fill out a quiz and they sell it to third party companies.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
to me, like that's not cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Interact is good. Um, Bucket.io, that is one that Ryan Levesque, the founder of the Ask Method, really famous book that talks a lot about quizzes and surveys and stuff, that he founded Bucket.io. And it's a good option. It's a little bit more, there are some more advanced features in there.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're into Facebook ads, you can retarget someone based off their response to like one question in your
Wow.
quiz,
Okay.
for
That's
example.
really cool.
And they don't even have to give you their email address for you to be able to do that. So stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's pretty neat, but quite advanced.
Got it. And at the end, when you create those quizzes, where do you put them? Like you have some quizzes that are on your website, but do you mostly put the quizzes on your website, or you use them together with your emails, or with any other way to market your business?
Yeah, so there are a few different types of quizzes. Like, let's just say you had a signature quiz that applied to your entire audience
Mm-hmm.
that you would want to probably use all the time. Like, it would be evergreen. So you would put that on your website, like above the fold. So before someone scrolls, you would want to have a call to action to take the quiz. And then you just want to have it sort of sprinkled everywhere, like in your sidebar, at the end of your blog posts. You can link to it. You can add a little blurb in your email template to go and take the quiz. Social media, like having it in your bios on Instagram, on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. You want to put it in as many places as possible, just like you
Right.
would with any other lead magnet, really. And then with like a launch type of quiz. So let's say you had an online course or a membership that was like pretty specific to one audience. Then you could
Mm-hmm.
create a quiz for a top of funnel lead magnet for that course or membership. And really, the only thing that's important is that the quiz is attractive to the types of people who would be a good fit for your course or membership. So it doesn't have to be for your entire audience, it's just for those people that you designed this offer for. And if you had that kind of quiz, then you would really only use it when you're launching.
Mm-hmm.
So you could put it on your website when you're launching, take it down when you're not launching. You could do Facebook and Instagram ads to it during your launch period and just go hard on that. And that's a that's an asset that you would probably not be using all the time, right?
Right.
You would like use it during a launch and then take it down. Or if you have like an evergreen funnel, you could be running Facebook ads to it, but not promoting it on your website. Or you could promote it on your website, but also have like your core lead magnet more prominently featured. So that's what I would do with like a launch type of quiz.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then, yeah, like for e-commerce, if you are using a quiz to help people with like analysis paralysis to find a perfect product for them, then you would use it like in your shop, all over your website, run ads to it, all the things.
Mm-hmm. And this is more or less the way you used to send traffic to those quizzes. Like I get it when you say that you should use it everywhere on social media, you should use it on your for your email list and all the other ways. But what is your main way to drag traffic to those quizzes? Let's imagine that you have this launch and you are putting this quiz to get people into the funnel for this launch. Where do you get the traffic? How do you drive the traffic to the quiz?
The main ways that I recommend are Facebook and Instagram ads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really just because quizzes and Facebook ads are like a match made in heaven. Like they just work really well. And typically you get a much lower cost per lead than
Mm-hmm.
you would with other types of lead magnets. So a lot of my clients will go and run ads and it's totally normal for them to get like 50-cent leads.
Right.
50
That's
cents
crazy.
to a dollar leads,
Mm-hmm.
whereas like other lead magnets, webinars, like the average cost per lead across the B2B industry is like $12 per lead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot more affordable. Yeah, I even had someone tell me the other day they were getting leads for 11 cents,
Wow.
which is
That's something that was
insane.
happening, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Never heard of it.
exactly. So it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you can do organic marketing too, and that can still be really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to run ads, even just like personally reaching out to people, like saying, "Hey, I created this quiz. I think you'll really like it." And then asking them to share it with their audience.
Right.
Because the thing about quizzes is they have this like built-in viral potential. Because if someone gets a quiz result that they feel really accurately reflects who they are,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to want to share it with their friends, right? If it makes them look good. They're not going to share it if it makes them look bad.
Of course, of course. And something that I experience in my business is, I use quizzes mostly on emails. I send emails, and when I want people to reply to an email and to say their point of view of what I just said, in the past I was just saying to them, reply to this email and tell me what you think about what I wrote and tell me your experience. But right now I'm using mostly quizzes that are already compiled, and people just need to click on the right answers. And I realized that this gives a lot more response from the people I sending the emails to. So I think that, as you
Yeah.
said, they're working anyway. Wherever you put them, they're gonna work. Especially if you put with an ad, and the ad is about, I don't know, finding something about your personality and something that you can share after. So it makes totally sense. And something I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you about ads are like, how do you create an ad that is about a quiz? Just to make an example, even a generic one, like the ad should be, there should be like on the title, there should be the question, the main question of the quiz, and then you have a button that links to your quiz. How do you create it?
Well, I am not an ads manager slash strategist, but I
Mm-hmm.
do write a lot of ad copy. So if I'm advising someone on like their ad copy and their ad strategy overall, I would give them three different variations to test. So I would have like the main headline that is like the hook or the title of the quiz,
Mm-hmm.
and then a description. And in the description, I always advise people to tell their audience what they are going to get. Like, what is the main benefit for their audience, and really focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people will just be like, take the quiz, and they won't really elaborate and say, like, well, why? Why should I spend my time taking this quiz? So I always create a few different variations of a description
Mm-hmm.
and a few different variations of the main headline.
Right.
And then for the ad copy, I usually will create a variation that's like short and sweet and to the point, like take this quiz and discover blah, 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 whatever benefits you're offering in your quiz results.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll create another variation that's more long form and usually like more story driven, that really gets into the why of, especially if it's a personal brand, I'll get into like their story, why they created this, kind of layer in some more context there, and then go hard on like everything that the user will learn if they take this quiz, like how it will improve their life or their business or whatever the focus of the quiz is on.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that ad copy, you always just want to have a call to action to like head over here to take this 2-minute quiz. You can have a little PS like, this isn't your average quiz. I promise it's worth your time. These results are like miniature guides in and of themselves. So I always recommend people put more resources and energy into creating the results than they typically see. Because most quizzes that you take and you get your result, you're just like, I mean, this
Right.
wasn't that helpful. So you
Mm-hmm.
really want to make sure it's worth people's time, and you want to communicate that in your copy. So I'll have, yeah, that short variation, a kind of medium length one, and then a more long form story driven version. And then from there, you want to test different images and test those three variations to see which one comes out on top. And you're also going to be testing different audiences, and
Of course.
yeah, I'm sure you've got great episodes with ads people
Yeah.
who could speak to the specifics better than I could.
No, that was really great. That was really great. And since we are doing this interview live, I'm getting questions from users, and I'm just gonna ask you one of the questions that I just read. Have you ever used chatbots to create quizzes, or you used just other software like the one you were talking before? Have you ever used this kind of method to create a quiz?
Okay, so I haven't personally used chatbots, but I've had some of my students use chatbots
Mm-hmm.
with like great success. It's
Right.
amazing. This one woman, she was running like an ads agency, and she created a quiz for her client who's a hypnotherapist. And it was like, are you ready to stop smoking? Because he had a
Mm.
program or something that helped people use hypnosis to stop smoking. So people would take the quiz within the actual messenger bot, and I think it was quite long. Like, usually I don't advise people to have more than 10 questions.
Right.
They had like 20 or 30 questions, and the completion
Whoa.
rate was still super high.
Mm-hmm.
And the call to action at the end was to like book a call with this hypnotherapist. And he got so many bookings within like the first week of this ad running that he had to shut down the ads and pause the campaign because he just couldn't handle it. And the cost per lead there was like 15 cents. I mean, it was so cheap because I think messenger leads are typically more cheap,
Mm-hmm.
but that's, to me, I'm like unheard of. So that's a
Unbelievable.
cool
Nice.
example.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
great. Okay, and yeah, talking about the funnel that is connected to this quiz, because you create this quiz and then people that are going through the quiz, I guess that you use it to segment your list as well to understand what kind of people you have on your list. But how do you continue with the funnel when a person reached the end of the quiz? What do you usually do? Like you said right now that people are putting a call to action at the end and it works pretty well. Do you suggest this way, or can you suggest us other ways to create a funnel at the end of the quiz?
Yeah, so let's continue with the example that I was using earlier, where
Mm-hmm.
say you're like a business coach and you have like the beginner audience, the intermediate, and the advanced, and you've got a different offer for each of those levels. So
Mm-hmm.
you would segment based on which category those people belong in, and then you would send the beginners through a different funnel than you would send like the advanced folks, right? So you would send a follow-up email after they take the quiz. Um, you want to send like a welcome sequence, regardless of which category people fall into. You want to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you're developing a relationship with them before you start selling to them. So establishing know, like, and trust with like 3 or 4 emails that come after the quiz that really solidify like who you are, how you can help them, why they need to pay attention and do this now, like why now is the right time. And really, you just want to build that rapport and get them opening your emails. And the people who aren't a good fit, like you're weeding them out at the same time. So you're just drawing in the people who like this is the perfect offer for. And
Mm-hmm.
then once you've gone through that welcome sequence, then you can start moving into more of like a sales sequence. So if you've got like some kind of beginner course on like business fundamentals or finding your niche or finding your audience or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
then you could have your emails be more focused on that and have your call to action to go to the sales page or whatever it is, get on a call with you, let's say. So that's where you really want to start getting specific in who you're talking to, because the beginner is not going to be a good fit for your like 10K coaching program, right?
Of course.
And the advanced person isn't going to be a good fit for your beginner course. So this is where it becomes really powerful. And I mean, it's a lot of work. Even developing one funnel is a lot of work,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you already have those assets and it's just a matter of like better segmenting, because the more specific you can get in your marketing, the higher your conversions will be.
Of course, of course. And to give my example in my situation, I started creating different welcome series. You said that welcome series should be different, like for a beginner should go for a welcome series and you should propose an offer, and for another kind of person you have to drive this other person through another funnel. And I started using different welcome series, and I realized that they work a lot better than a single one. I used to have a single one, but right now I have different welcome series based on the lead magnet that the person download. So I'm segmenting my list, but at the same time I drive people to different welcome series, and this changed everything for me. So I totally understand what you
Mm,
just said.
nice. That's awesome.
Cool. And all right, so this was everything about funnels. Do you have any other advice on, I don't know, any other? I know that we talked about quizzes, and the quizzes was the main topic of this interview. But do you use any other method on your business to grow your list apart from quizzes? And do you have any advice to give us?
Well, another thing that's really powerful is using surveys.
Mm-hmm.
So in your welcome sequence, I add a survey in I think my second email. And usually, yeah, like that second or third email that you send, give people an opportunity to tell you more about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And really, you can keep it simple. Like, I just like to ask, like, what is your biggest struggle right now in relation to whatever your niche is? And how would your life change if that were no longer the case?
Mm-hmm.
Even with just those two questions, you can learn so much about your audience. And that will also help you to improve your marketing because you can take what someone says and you can describe it back to them. And when you do that, that person will be reading your email or your social media post and they'll be like, "Whoa, this person totally gets me. Like, how do they know everything I'm going through?" And it's because you have actual data and
Mm-hmm.
information
Of
from
course.
your audience that's telling you. And it really simplifies everything and takes the guesswork out of copywriting and messaging. Because a lot of the time, like people sit down to write something and they're like, I don't know what to write. I don't know what's going to help my audience. I don't know what's going to make them feel like this is the right thing for them. And it just comes down to like better research and having that survey. I also like to incentivize it and give people a reason to fill it out. So like
Mm-hmm.
entering them for a chance to win a free session with you or a free
Right.
course or a free product will really increase the completion rates.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and also it's really heartening to read the responses and see like people are paying attention. People want you to
Yeah.
help them. You're doing a disservice by not
Mm-hmm.
giving them, putting your offer out in front of them and giving them your best insights.
Yeah, and it's a good motivation for people that are starting right now. Usually when you send an email, you just take a look at the open rate and the click-through rate, and you don't have any real response from those emails. People that are not responding to you, they're just maybe reading and clicking maybe the email. But if you give a chance to people to say something back and use a survey, for example, it's a great motivation even to people to see that their emails actually are read and people want to interact with you. So it's even another way to give you some push to keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
Right. And do you, one thing before I forget, just to explain to people, what is the difference between quizzes and surveys?
Well, a quiz, it's like multiple choice. So you're asking them a question, and then they've got like 3 or 4 different options to choose from. And a survey, it's usually, you can have some multiple choice questions in there, but you also will have some open-ended questions where it's up to them to type their response in their own words, right? And that's where you get a lot of that like really specific voice of customer, and it's really useful. But at the same time, a survey requires a lot more effort on the user side than a quiz. Like a quiz, it's pretty easy for someone to just go through and answer multiple choice. Yes. But writing out a response, especially when it's a question that like what are you struggling with right now? People can go on for like paragraphs and paragraphs about what they're struggling with, right? So the big difference is that, and the different energy demands of one versus the other.
Right, got it. Okay, that was really great. I'm sure that people are gonna check your website and find out everything they can about quizzes and check more information about you and probably get in touch with you. So if people want to get in touch with you, where should they go apart from your website? Do you have any other link or, I don't know, social media, anything?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Chanti Zak and on Facebook at facebook.com/ChantiZakCopy, and you can reach out to me there. On my website, I have a contact form. If you sign up for my email list and hit reply on any of my emails, your message will come straight to me, and I love just chatting with people and meeting you, so feel free to reach out.
Nice. All right, guys, if you liked this episode as much as I liked, share this episode wherever you are. If you are on YouTube or Facebook Live or wherever you are, share the video and share the word. I think that this episode was completely new about what I usually teach, because usually I teach about online business regarding email marketing and social media marketing, and quizzes is something that I never talked about, so it's fairly new, and I'm sure people enjoy that. And Chanti, thank you very much. I hope I'm gonna have another episode with you in the future, but for now, thank you very much for all the information that you gave us.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.